Mr. Krugman, welcome to take the stage, and we're keen on listening to your keynote presentation. Thank you.
I'm not going to try to talk about pharma or healthcare directly. I think my role here is to talk about the European general situation. You have this noble project of peace through prosperity and prosperity through political integration, and all of this intended to make this a better place, and something that worked, by the way, for half a century. As you know, that was a long, fierce debate about how austerity measures would affect the economies. In reality, the austerity measures have had a strong depressing effect. These severe cuts depress GDP, which depresses revenue, which raises expenditures on things like unemployment benefits, but also which raises the ratio of debt to GDP, which is what people look at because the denominator has fallen. Everybody's doing at least a little bit of austerity. So what you have is extreme austerity in the debtor countries, which are forced into it by the situation, but you don't have expansion elsewhere. So let me give you not one, not two, but four scenarios. Scenario one, in general, the fiscally strong European core would actually do some stimulus. And equally importantly, you'd have a really aggressive expansionary monetary policy by the ECB. The second story is basically the official policy of Europe, muddling through. Economic recovery for Europe as a whole comes partly from slow recovery in Southern Europe, and also maybe just from the things that always do eventually drive economic recoveries, which is that stuff happens. And I think one of the things that is especially worrying about the European situation is that because the commitment of the sort of established political figures to being good Europeans has been so strong, that the only people who are really challenging this attempt to muddle through are on the extremes. Destiny 3 is radicalization. 4, the doom loop was short-circuited twice by Mario Draghi. So the European Central Bank has stepped in essentially to provide cash, to provide liquidity, and to provide an implicit guarantee that has kept that from running away. People do really believe in this European project. When everything's really reached the edge, European institutions have intervened to stop it just short of the edge. It turns out that having the single currency without fiscal integration, above all, and without banking integration, was a very big mistake. But here are our choices right now. I don't know. I'm feeling optimistic this morning.
In this world, where we're struggling and we're probably going to be muddling through, is that going to be enough? So is there a smart way of, whatever the sector, whether healthcare or elsewhere, having a new type of industrial policy that can help with public policy challenges and send the right signals to industry too?
Can we justify more intervention? And I think the answer, in principle, is yes. Right? If you look at a lot of the leading sectors in advanced economies now, they don't look anything like the kind of perfect competition, no externality industry for which you can make a case that free markets get it right. Of course, something like healthcare, where the major purchaser is the government, that's actually even true in the United States. There's no reason at all to think that that the policy should not include trying to do something about managing the future of the industry. Does making the economy more efficient help when the problem is not lack of efficiency but lack of demand? And the answer is not directly. Government intervention here, to the extent that it can generate new reasons to invest even when current capacity is not fully used, can be expansionary.
I just wanted to ask you how much you think a spirit of optimism will help the region get out of this crisis.
It certainly doesn't hurt. I mean, if you ask, okay. So if someone were to invent a new technology that would lead to a lot of business investment in Europe, that would be exactly what the doctor ordered. That would help us a lot. And if you can just convince people, if people become optimistic, that serves much the same function. So sure, optimism won't make the structural problems go away. If optimism is completely untethered, then it's likely to crash and leave you in even worse shape than before. Excessive optimism, in a way, was what got Europe into this mess to begin with.